If you're a mobile detailer, you probably feel as though you don't have time to set up a website for your business. I get it, you're busy, but in this video, I'm going to show you that that's not true anymore. You can set up a high-end looking website that genuinely gets you bookings in no time at all now. So what we're going to do is take a website that currently looks like this. Not too bad, but it's a little bit bland and maybe doesn't really show off their packages very well and services. So take it looking from that to looking something more like this. It shows off the great images, has the Google reviews in there, basically everything a car detailer needs to get a really high-end looking website online. So let's hop in. So I've just set up my account, and what I'm going to do is give this website a name. So let's call it Elite Balloting Nottingham. I've already tested with this account, so that domain is already taken. So I'm just going to change this to detailing. Not a great domain. I'd recommend just keeping it as whatever it suggested. Let's move on to the next step. I always recommend using something like an SVG if you have it, which basically means it's a high resolution logo that doesn't cost too much image size or anything like that. Continue. If you really want to save time, you can select one of the templates and go based off that. But what I'm going to do is create my own style. And what it'll do is it will try to detect your brand colors from the logo that you uploaded. But because it's black and white, we're just going to have it as black and white for now. So fonts, you've got a few to select from. I'm just going to go with Expanded Modern for now, just because I personally really like it. And let's click continue. So next here, we want to decide how we want people to get in touch with us on the website. So whether it's the buttons on the packages or the call to action at the bottom of the website, this determines how that gets set up initially. We can always adjust it later. I'm going to leave it as contact form for now. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to take his Instagram page and then fetch the photos. So a big part of setting up a website is typically two things: adding in your images and setting up your packages. We're trying to make that as easy as possible. So that's why I've included this. What it's going to do is scrape your Instagram photos, and then you can select which ones you want to leave off. And then that will upload it to the website so that they're ready to use. It'll place it in randomly, or like what its best guess is, but so there'll still be a little bit of like reorganization, but at least you don't have to kind of manage all of that manually. There is also stock photos if you don't have images that you're kind of proud of yet, but I would always recommend trying to use your own, and you can always upload directly to the website as well. One little tip is that you can technically do that if you log in to Design Detail on your phone, and then you can just access your phone's photo library directly. So this is almost done, and what it's going to do is show me a bunch of the images that it found, and we'll deselect the ones that might not make as much sense. Okay, so the images have just pulled in. Let's take a quick scroll through, see if there are any that don't make sense. I'm looking for things that look kind of like brochures that they might have posted, or like ads, but this is looking good, so we'll import those. Again, huge time save here because we don't have to do all this manually anymore. Okay, this is almost done. Perfect. Next. Now we're going to select the suppliers. On his current website, it doesn't really say which supplier he works with, so I'm just going to select Gion, never know. Here it's asking recommended widgets. So this will basically set up the pricing tables, the contact forms, the Google reviews, all that kind of stuff for us so that it's much faster to set up. So now we'll get started. And now it's creating the website. So it is utilizing AI, but not in the way that you think. What's going on here is AI is taking all the information that we entered on Signer and during this onboarding process, and it's writing out all the content for us. That means that when it comes to actually like the website building itself, it's using the pre-designed sections that we've already made, and I've personally made based on 10 years of experience making car detailing websites for some of the biggest in the US and detailers around the world, basically. So that means we get the power of AI kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us without the kind of like AI slop that gets generated a lot these days. Because if you were to go to like an AI generation tool at the minute, there's still going to be a lot of back and forth with it, trying to dial it in and actually do the stuff that you need it to do. So the benefit to this is that we've already thought of all the sections that you need, all the widgets like the Google reviews, and then on top of that, we have also added in the ability to manage your leads, customers, calendar, and as well as some extra tools and SEO functionality as well. So I'm just going to speed through this. Okay, so it's almost finished now. You can tell because the little swirly polishing dust animation is, there we go, we're done. Okay, so now it's going to load us into the website builder. And this is where you, of course, build your website. So let's take a quick scroll through this homepage. We've got our hero section with Google reviews in it, perfect for building trust and authority. We've got our nav bar as well up at the top with our logo in it, and it's generated us all the search engine optimized text, as well as added in those Instagram photos that we were looking for. We've also got some gallery images, those Google reviews again, an about section, a counter section to build up some kind of like authority in terms of some stats. We've got a before and after slider it's created us, and our supplier section, portfolio, which is great for kind of SEO and showing off your work in more of a detailed way. And then we've got our call to action section, which we said use a contact form for, so it's created us a contact form. It's also created us some FAQs, and as well as a footer as well. One thing it did do is it added in a like postcode into the heading. What I'm just going to do is remove that. It probably is good for SEO, kind of that very specific thing, but we can do it in different areas. So I just clicked on the section here, and what I'm going to do is click design and take a look at some of the pre-made like styles for this section. So I'm going to go with this so we can show off the image a bit better, and I'm going to make the text maybe even a bit smaller than that. Large. I think that's good. And then I'm also going to change some of these images. So I'm going to go to style, slider, and I'm going to add in some of their best images from their Instagram. Let's go with some of these studio ones. It's looking nice. For hero images, you're kind of looking for kind of interesting shots, basically, because this is pretty much the most important section of your website. You really want to get across your quality and things like that. So that one stands out a little bit. So we'll make these all a little bit more thing. I'm going to remove the overlay a little bit, or we're going to change it to a gradient, and then left to right. So just so that text is covered up a little bit better. Okay, this is looking okay. I think what I'm also just going to do is get the AI assistant to add in 3 benefits. So add 3 benefits to this section. Only use headings. It's just to kind of pad this space out because we've got quite a fair bit of space. Perfect. Now let's add in like a little supplier logo. Just say exclusive provider, and we'll add that Geon logo in there as well. Just so we can show for anyone who does know, like anyone who's visiting your website does know that brand, especially if you're working with someone that's maybe more exclusive, then that's great to include in there. Okay, so now this text is looking a little bit big just because of the font I selected. So what I'm going to do is go into the theme drawer, I'm going to go to elements, and I'm going to change the secondary headings, which are H2s. I'm just going to reduce that size a little bit, just because it's a wide font, so it means it would look squished in some places. But that's looking pretty nice. Okay, so now I'm just going to go into here. I'm going to reorganize some of these services because we want to prioritize ceramic coating and paint correction. So now at the beginning of there, we've got that. But if you wanted to, again, in the design tab, you could change that to more of like a grid view, or maybe like an alternating view like that. But I personally prefer the carousel view because it looks great on mobile too. Because that's another big thing. It's also handled all the mobile optimization for us. So if we take a look at that, we've got a nice mobile optimized website already set up. And it hasn't just set up the homepage, it's set up all those other service pages right there and there. So now all we just have to do is just take a quick little look through it all and make sure we're happy with it. So this is all looking good for me. I'll remove the portfolio section for now, just because based on his images, Doesn't seem like it has multiple images of the same car. And I'll also remove it from the navbar too. Okay, nice. So I mentioned before about the before and after slider. What we're going to do is head into the main app. We're going to head to widgets, and we're going to go into here, and we're going to set up a new before and after slider. So I'm going to remove this kind of example one. So I'll remove that and that. And I'm going to take an image from his Instagram. Okay. I'm going to take this one. So that's how the before is currently looking. And then I'm going to get AI to generate me a swirl marks to flawless paint. And what this is going to do is going to create an after image for us. I'd of course recommend using like your own images as much as possible. But in some scenarios where you don't quite have it, this is perfect. So let's go with that for now. There's a few little ones on there, so you could always refine it a little bit more, but right now we'll just keep on using this. So let's head back into the website builder, and let's also just adjust that split a little bit more, and then we'll see that before and after slider in there now. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other pages it's set up. So we've got an about us. What I'm just going to do there is reduce the text size a bit. Let's drop it smaller. Great. Looking good. You might want to put in some more images of the team here rather than just kind of a generic car seat. So let's just do that now. That one should be fine. Just showing some people in there is the ideal thing. But yeah, that should be good. We've got our work, so that's the portfolio. Blog. So blog posts are just pretty much good for SEO. What you can do is just do something like get the AI assistant to say, write a blog post about classic car detailing. And that's going to load up all your business information, where you're at, any existing blog posts so that it doesn't repeat itself, and then create you a new blog post. So it's almost done. Okay, that's now done. And we can see that blog post there, the ultimate guide. Great. Okay, so now let's go into the reviews. I'll just make sure that that reviews widget is in there. Perfect. And I'll also just center that as well. And now let's take a look at the contact us. Center that too. Great. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the service pages. And then I'm also gonna set it up as that split look as well. Heading, make that smaller. So the more text you've got, the smaller you want that to be. That's looking good. And I'll also just adjust that split bit. Nice. I won't do this for all the hero sections, but just showing you kind of how quickly we can set things up. One thing I think would also be nice, so on that home page, let's add a new section. So these are all the pre-designed sections that you've got available. What we're going to do is add in a marquee, and what this will do is add in a bunch of car logos. And you can refine this in here to select which car makes you want to use. But let's also kind of change the color up a little bit, because it's nice to alternate things and just add a little bit of a break between those two sections. Great. Okay, so back to that service page. Let me just remove that text. Nice. So as you can see, if we go into preview mode, if I click this button, a contact form pops up. Nice. And it's created our packages for us here as well. So if we wanted to go in and edit these packages, you can just click on edit and it will open up the package editor. And here you've got some options to change the deliverables. So if you wanted to kind of reorganize some things or add new ones in, or even set up specific prices for each vehicle size, that's also available, as well as what the call to action button does. So this is looking good for now. Just a quick example. Got our supplier in there. If you wanted to use a specific one for this page, you can always swap those out as well. We'll remove that portfolio, and then we've got our call to action. Great. Next page, paint correction. So what I'm going to do here, just so I'm not kind of repeating work that I've done, I'm going to go right click and then copy style on that hero section. And then on paint correction, I'll click paste style. And then that will apply it to this page as well. I'll remove that postcode, and then I'll also change that image to something more relevant. This one. Nice. Okay. Okay, so that's nice little. This is what I mean, like you need to kind of try to make sure what it's importing from Instagram actually makes sense. Let's go with that before and after slider. So I'm going to change this intro section's media type to before and after, and then select that widget that we created. Nice. Paint correction. Onto the next one. So what I'm going to do for this one, because the exterior detailing people just kind of want to jump into the prices a bit faster, put up the layout button, so the page sections, and I'm going to move the pricing section below the hero section. And then that way we jump right into that pricing. Interior, same thing again, paste style, delete the postcode, and then let's select a interior picture. It's not too bad. Just adjust these images as well. So, you know, this is where you could use a stock image as well. So if we do car detailing, you just want to make sure that it actually makes sense to like the area that you're in, because these are left-hand drives and this is a UK business. Let's see if we can find one like that's generic enough just to add that in there. And I'll also do the same thing with that pricing section, put it underneath the hero as well. Good stuff. It's just about kind of going through each page, taking a quick look, and not adjusting or reinventing the wheel of what it's given me too much, because it is based on websites that have converted really well in the past. Feel free, if you want to experiment a little bit, it is possible to do that. It is set up in a way so that it kind of starts you off with a really good base you might not want to mess with too much. Good stuff. And again, like in this theme area, if I go into here, for example, the theme drawer, this is where you can edit the entire style of the website in one place without having to update each and every section. So if you wanted to use a light theme instead of a dark theme, you can just do that. And it's updated all the sections to a light theme instead of a dark one. And it's adjusted all the widgets too. If you wanted to use a color, so let's say you had like a kind of one of these, and then you can shuffle this to kind of get it to something that looks good. In fact, I'm also just going to adjust this services drop down. So instead of having it just like that, I'm going to change the service drop down to grid view. And then now we've got some nice images in there to take a look at. It's just a little bit more visual. But again, the little things like this is more personal preference. Okay, I reckon this website is pretty good to go. So what I'll do is I'll publish to the staging domain. So that's just the temporary domain that we create so that you could share that with a colleague or take a look at it on your mobile. And let's open this up. So we'll click view website. So now we're at that staging domain that we created. And we'll take a look through this. It's looking good. If we compare this to the original website, their hero section wasn't making use of that first scroll. So we really want to get that information across really quick. Ours gets what they do, where they're at, how long they've been doing it, some social proof, quick skimmable thing of what they do, mobile and studio, East Midlands coverage, whereas theirs, it's, you know, and there's no call to action button as well. So there's no way to get a quick free quote as well. That's really important. I know that it can sometimes seem like there's a lot of text, but people like to scroll through websites. They just kind of scroll up and down. No one really reads all the text on a website. But because you've got these kind of skimmable elements here in the headings, you kind of still get important information across. Okay, so that is done. I think that took around 20 minutes, 25 minutes to set up. which is less than how long it would take to clean a car, depending on how bad it was. So yeah, if you want to give this a go, feel free to head to the link in my description. You can get started for free today. Hopefully this changed your mind in terms of how long it takes to get a professional detailing website set up.